Hello, everyone. My name is Clint Watson, and you're watching Eliot Kelly TV.
Welcome to another dynamic episode of Eliot Kelly TV. In today's show, we're going to talk with Tracy Stubbs. The author Jim Rohn tells us that there are one of two pains that we have to suffer in life. The first one being the pain of regret, and the second one being the pain of discipline. Which one are you going to experience? And that's what we're going to be talking about with Tracy right after the intro. Welcome, Tracy, to Eliot Kelly TV. Tracy is a sound engineer. She specializes in live music, sound, film, video, hosting, and co-hosting. Welcome to Eliot Kelly TV, Tracy.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Tell us a little bit about your background in the sound industry, Tracy.
All right. Well, I started working professionally in 2006. So that's about 15 years that I've been in this now. I started out doing live sound for like concerts. There was a lot of big events, a lot of corporate events, that kind of thing. Then I moved more and I started doing a little bit of studio stuff, but I really got into live bands and working with bands on the luxury market, private parties and things over Atlantis and Ocean Club and Life at Key and stuff like that. I did that for a while, and while I was doing that, I also did some theater. I like to keep myself busy, Along the way, I also started to dabble with graphic design because I was very interested in the fact that locally in the Bahamas at the time, you would have some places that would have live bands, but they would never put the name of the band on the flyers. They would just say live band or live music. And I thought that was so strange. So when I got to the point where I wanted to start hosting my own events, or at least booking the bands, then I really made a push for making sure that let's big up the bands, let's big up the members of the band. You know what I mean? Let's make it about them and really try to give them a real platform instead of lip service or creating or making them the furniture at the venue rather than the stars of the show. And from there, I ended up getting invited onto film sets, and then that kind of took off. That was another revenue stream, and I was surprised to find how much I really enjoyed that. And so I've been doing that now for the last 6 or 7 years. So I just keep on going, just keep on doing. Oh, and then I also do installations. That's another thing, like church installations, upgrades, sound training for the media ministry and everything like that. This whole profession is very people heavy, you know what I mean? So yes. It's all about just trying to get in there. And most of the time what I find, especially with installations, what I'm doing is actually relieving stress for people because they've been frustrated for a very long time with whatever issue that they're having. And then I get to come along and be like, oh, well, if you do this, or if you get this piece of gear or we connect it like this, then you can have a much better flow. And what happens is they really, really are relieved. So that's very edifying for me.
Thank you for sharing. What's the greatest challenge for you in the events industry?
Well, capital, it's very expensive to put on events. So you have to either have the funds or have the kinds of partnerships where you can actually, that'll be I would say between the funds and then also having good partners, people who actually understand your vision and you understand what their vision is, that you are clear about expectations and all the rest of that you can have a difference of opinion without like hating each other kind of thing. Some people get offended when you don't like their idea. So being able to acquiesce It's about dynamics and group dynamics, and just understanding even, what your clients or what your customers expect at the end of the day. Um, all of that is very sort of, you have to be very, very sensitive is the word I'm looking for. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. You shared on our next question, kind of a segue. You shared on being sensitive and you shared on understanding group dynamics. What other roles has discipline played in the development of your career?
Well, when you first asked me about doing this tonight, you asked me about motivation. And to me, the biggest thing about staying motivated is understanding that you have to have self-discipline. Like you have to, when you get discouraged or when you're just feeling down or when somebody is putting you down or you're getting a no all the time, or somebody just doesn't, somebody you think should believe in your vision, they don't believe in your vision. You have to have the wherewithal and the self-discipline to say, you know what, I'm going to push through this anyway, and I'm going to make this because I understand where I'm coming from. If everybody thinks I'm crazy, I'm going to have to let them think I'm crazy. If I am very, very tired, but I know that I have this task or that task, that you find the and that's really discipline. You know what I mean? It's, I learned that from in karate. You know what I mean? Sometimes you go to class, you really don't feel like working out, or you're really tired for true. You don't have a choice. You done enter the dojo, so you gotta push through it. And that kind of training has helped me a lot with my career, because now, you know, when certain things happen, I only look at it as a setback. I don't necessarily look at it as the end of the world. Um, that that mental part of it is extremely important.
Thank you for sharing that. If you're just joining us, we're with Tracy Stubbs. Go ahead and smash that share button, hit that like notification bell so that you can be notified when we drop new content. Who or what inspires you, Tracy?
Honestly, Bahamian people inspire me. Bahamian people are some of the most interesting people on planet Earth. They are really, really cool. One of the cool things too about being from the Bahamas is we get to interact with so many people from so many different parts of the world throughout our lifetimes. So that whole just being here, listening to people laugh, taste like eating the food, even going through the process of preparing the food and preparing events. We are very event heavy in the Bahamas, even from family events and things that you might do with friends or with clubs. It's a very social kind of environment. And so being able to be around so many different people, that like so many characters, man, they're very, very colorful. When one of the culture shocks, one of the things I did not realize would be a culture shock when I was living in Canada was that Bahamian men are like they are super colorful. They literally wear all the colors. You know what I mean? It's not just the brown, black, and navy blue kind of thing. Like people really, they are expressive, and I find it fascinating because I am fascinated with people in general, and that the kinds of things that be on people's minds, the kind of passions that people have, I find it very, very cool. So that keeps me sort of motivated. A lot of times when I might start feeling a little bit down or something like that, I might run into somebody. I look for strangers. I'm very, very, like, as you can see, I'm very talkative, but I look for people who are passionate about something, and I'll just ask them all the questions. And before I realize what's happening, their passion has reignited whatever flame is inside of me that needs rekindling. And I just keep on going. I'm very much inspired by our people.
Thank you. Thank you. Definitely. I share your sentiment. Shout out to all those persons from the 242, whether you are in the Bahamas or abroad, one of the most creative set of people in the world. We definitely are. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to, Tracy?
I mean, I'd like to give a shout out to my daughter, Grace. I definitely want to give a shout out to Empower Media. I want to give a shout out to the ladies band. I want to give a shout out to all the bands. I want to give a shout out to my guys at Rake and Scrape Live. You know, yeah, yeah, 242 Artist Network, all of them.
Absolutely. You've toured all around the world. Looking at your bio, speak about colorful. You have a very colorful bio. Tell us, or share with us rather, your most favorite or most memorable event that you planned, something that probably went wrong and how you were able to solve it.
Oh, well, huh, there's a lot to choose from. Um, because a lot of times things, I can't use the language, but I always call it the F up. There's always something that happens. Um, what's kind of sticking out in my memory, I guess, is I was hosting an event at Palm Key, which is a gated community here and not in the Bahamas anyway, and on New Providence. And I for the intermission, I had a guy who wanted to do some poetry, like some spoken word poetry. So I was like, cool, okay, go ahead. And he did one poem, and that was well received. And I was like, yeah, cool. And then he did another poem and he started going off. Like he was using all kinds of verbiage that was just completely inappropriate. And people were getting really, really upset, all the rest of it. And I had to like literally run to the mixer and shut everything down and be like, music, you know what I mean? Because he was offending so many people in the crowd. And that was like a big thing because it was like all of a sudden all kind of people were like, oh my God, what is he saying? What's going on? Kind of thing. And I had to really shut that down. And in talking to him, I ended up having to fire him because he was an artist. A part of what I do when I do events is I like some gimmicks, you know what I mean? And he was a part of that gimmick train, and I had to let him go. And I had to go and go to all these different people. There was like hundreds of people there, and I had to like sort of calm everybody down. And then the general manager, and then the owners, and all the rest of it. I had to go in and do a lot of damage control because and I had no idea that he would do something so crazy or anything like that. But that kind of sticks out in my mind as just a disastrous sort of situation. Um, Different from that, you have other things go on. I had one weird incident where I had an open mic and it was feeding back. And Eliot, I want you to think about like we were in the Imperial Ballroom. There were 3,600 guests. I had an 11-piece band. There were at least about four when you look at the wait staff and the managers and everything. That's another 400 people. And then the most crazy, awful noise started to happen. Everybody looked at me at the exact same time. And I had to like sort of maintain my presence of mind so that I could find the problem and then quickly sort of get rid of it. But I don't usually have two big, huge, massive problems because I have learned to think things all the way through to the end. And I've had enough things go wrong to know that you need a backup to the backup and a just in case. So that helps to mitigate against anything that might go wrong.
Absolutely. Thank you, Tracy. Remind us of your services again and how our audience can get in contact with you.
All right. So I provide all audio services. You can find me on Facebook. My profile is Sound Lady Stubbs. Or you can also look for Big Tune Machine. That's the official page at Big Tune Machine on Instagram and Big Tune Machine on YouTube. Any of those you can definitely reach me on. I do everything related to sound. So it's rentals, live bands. If you need musicians for hire, if you need an installation done, whether it's a church or a school or an office or a restaurant for that matter. I do studio work. I do audio cleanup. I also do boom operation for film and TV. And sales. Anything to do with sound and consulting. So sometimes you might have a musician who wants, I don't know, maybe a guitarist who wants advice about a pedal or something like that. Or drummers who need, more information about skins, whatever it is. I'm a bit of a nerd, so I researched a mess out of everything. but it helps, you know what I mean? Because when I get on any set or any stage or anything like that, I can move from area to area very fluidly, and that helps whoever it is that I'm working with at the time.
Thank you. You've dropped so many golden nuggets today. What will be your parting message to a young person interested in venturing into the events industry?
I would say that, first of all, think, read. Do not be afraid to open your mouth and ask questions, because people who are interested or who are in this industry, we are prone to sharing. You know what I mean? We're very happy to share, especially if you're interested in something that we are interested in. Like, don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to just get yourself in the thick of things. Don't think that you need a degree or this or that or the next thing, because at the end of the day, experience matters. It's about opportunities and capitalizing on the opportunities that are in front of you and sort of taking things to where you need to go. And the only way you're going to know where it is that you're going is if you actually sit down and you're real with yourself, real about your habits, real about your goals, and go from there. That's super important. But don't ever be afraid to talk to somebody, to reach out and get questions answered.
Absolutely. We wanted to express thanks to you for taking time to be out of your busy schedule. You have the Bahamas in your background. We're so jealous of you. It's a bit cold here in the UK. Thank you again for coming on with us. We do have a quote. It's by Jim Rohn. Discipline weighs ounces, regret weighs tons. And again, that's by Jim Rohn. Yeah. We had our guest, Tracy Stubbs, as we were discussing 3 habits that you can use to help you be more disciplined and achieve success, take you from where you are to where you want to go. Never lose your passion.